If it is 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern time on a Wednesday, that can mean just one thing. It's time for the goRIA live stream. And as you can see, I have a special guest with us today, David Blanchett, pardon me, who's the managing director and head of retirement research for PGIM. David, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you bet. So we're going to turn back to David in just a moment, and we're going to talk about the podcast that David and I recorded just a few weeks ago about CDAs. But first, just a couple of housekeeping announcements. Really pleased to announce that we are going to have the first in-person RIA Summit, the Investment News RIA Summit of the year. It's going to be in New York City on April 16th. All right. So if you could find yourself getting to New York City, April 16th, we're going to have a full day worth of in-person content, all things related to the RIA space. And that's going to be in downtown Manhattan. And if you'd like to go, just go to the Investment News website. There's a registration link there. And if you want to get a discount, and who wouldn't, just put in Chuck 25, and that's going to get you a 25% discount to that. The other housekeeping announcement is we're going to have, for the first time in a while, not the first time ever, but the first time in a while, the goRIA Virtual Summit, which I'm super excited about. That's kind of my little baby, and that's kind of how all this started a couple of years ago. And this is going to be a half-a-day virtual event talking about the RIA space, yes, but a little bit more or completely laser-focused on content very unique to advisors looking to go RIA. So if you're currently in the broker-dealer world, you've been hearing about the RIA space, you want to learn about how to start your own RIA or how to pick a good RIA to tuck into and compliance and technology, it's going to be a half day worth of virtual sessions on June 13th. And you can soon register for that. The registration link for that is not quite open. We just locked down the date, but maybe save the date for June 13th. Okay, with those housekeeping matters off the plate here, let me turn it back to David. And David, I'm glad you're joining us today. Your podcast just dropped this morning, and it's all about CDAs, contingent deferred annuities. And the reason why I reached out to you a few weeks ago to do this podcast is, I like to consider myself as someone who's pretty current on things. I never ever heard of these CDAs, but as a fee-based person, as I am, it intrigued me. So if you would, maybe start us off by telling us what exactly a CDA is.
Sure, you've probably never heard of them because no one's actually using them right now.
Okay.
But a contingent deferred annuity. So CDA is contingent deferred annuity. So there's other better words to use to describe it, like an insurance overlay or a lifetime income overlay, where it sits on top of a portfolio. So right now, if you're an advisor who wants to have a client that gets a lifetime income through an insurance company, you've got to transfer the assets to the insurer. This product structure allows you to manage the assets where they sit today, where the insurance kind of sits on top of the existing portfolio. So it's a very different way for portfolios to offer lifetime income to their clients.
All right. I love that concept. And especially, I think it was really big when, and I know David Lau over DPL was a big proponent of this, the fee-based annuity. This almost seems like it's taking it a step further where, you don't even need the annuity. You keep your portfolio, you run your portfolio at your preferred custodian, fill in the blank, and then reach out to an insurance carrier to do that overlay. I think that's genius. So we were talking a little bit off camera. That's been around for 10 years, but no one's using that. Is that going to change, or what's the story with that?
So I hope so. I think that there's lots of frictions for advisors using annuities. So you mentioned David Lau, DPL. They're offering kind of like the fee-friendly products that don't have the commissions that are easier for RIAs to use. Well, I think this is a product that will really help with some of the frictions you see using annuities today, since the advisor can build the portfolio how they want. Now, to be clear here, I think some of the earlier products we see in the market won't allow advisors to use everything. You're not going to, for example, be able to use probably crypto because it's difficult to hedge. But right. I think that what we are going to see is a lot more insurance companies bring products to market that let advisors offer this kind of protection in the environment that they're used to working on. I think a lot of advisors, especially RIAs, have been weary about transferring assets to insurance companies. Their value prop is managing portfolios, things like that. This kind of allows clients to have both. It gives them the chance, the advisor, to manage the portfolio in the native environment. And it allows them to offer meaningful protection against longevity.
Interesting. And it kind of feels a little bit to me, at least, like direct indexing, right? So you had the ETFs and you're like, wow, how could it get better than this? Well, here comes direct indexing. By some accounts, an ETF killer, probably not across the board, but in some cases it is better, I think. Do you see this taking over or taking a significant piece of market share, for lack of a better term, away from the traditional annuities into this more of an overlay structure?
So honestly, I don't, because I don't think that a lot of RIAs recommend or allocate to annuities right now. I think
Yeah,
that there's, I think it's kind of binary, like right now, either you do or you don't use annuities. A lot of the posts that don't use annuities define themselves as portfolio managers. Like that's what they do. They're fee only, they're whatever it is. I see this as a way to penetrate a market that really hasn't focused on solutions before. So I actually view this as kind of growing the pie of households that use insured solutions versus kind of pulling away from the more traditional types of annuities.
interesting. That's a good way to look at it. All right, so that's probably good for today. We like to use these live streams as just a brief little glimpse into what's new on www.goRIA.com. But for those of you in the audience, if you think this is intriguing, and at a minimum, I think you should think it's intriguing, whether you want to use it or not, but you should find out for yourself. Go to www.goRIA.com. And the podcast is top of the list because it just dropped this morning, and listen to all the details. And David, perhaps we can get you back later in the year as more of these products really hit the marketplace, and we're getting some feedback from advisors that are using that. Hopefully, you can make that happen with us.
That sounds great.
That'd be great. All right. Well, David Blanchett, thanks a lot for joining us today.
Sure.
All right. And on behalf of goRIA, fueled by investment news, I'm Chuck Vela. We'll see you again here, same time, same bat channel, as they say, Wednesday, 3 o'clock Eastern time. Thanks for joining us. Take care.